Jared, can you hear me? Okay. All right. This is here. Wonder, Shannon. Hi, Wonder.
Hi, Lisa.
Sorry, guys, I'm in the car. I had to make an emergency run down to Metro today, so I'm doing this now so that I'm not on the road trying to talk to you all.
Safety first.
Is everyone scheduled to be here tonight?
As far as I know,
I heard that Madison.
Oh, Madison won't be here?
She
Hi,
might.
Shannon.
She said she had a conflict, but that was before we rescheduled it to remote. So we'll see.
Okay. Well, it's 6 o'clock now. Let me give everybody, Rachel, Madison, and Patty a few more minutes to pop on. There's 3 of us, so we have a quorum.
We do technically have a quorum because we have 3 and the commission's only 5, but I completely understand if we want to give them a little bit of time and see, but we are able to conduct business, which is good.
Well, I like to get everybody here if we can, you know, particularly for this meeting. Hi, Michael. Okay, you guys have to tell me what it looks like with the snow up there. When I left today, it was like just a dusting, but I'm probably not going to be leaving until, like, I'll leave right after this, and I'm down at I-25.
The forecast I saw about a half hour ago said the snow in Denver is going to start about 8 o'clock and go for 24 hours.
Okay, that's good. I don't have to go anywhere tomorrow. I just got to get back up there tonight.
Probably about an inch on the ground
wasn't
so far.
awful when
Oh, that's
I
not bad.
left.
I'm sorry, Jared, what?
It wasn't awful when I left. I left about 4:30 just to get down here and get ready. And especially once you got up Floyd Hill, there wasn't much snow. It was mostly in Idaho Springs at the time, but that'll change, I'm sure.
My friend in Parker says she's supposed to get 15 inches between tonight and tomorrow. Like east
Wow.
of 25 is really supposed to get hammered.
Yeah, it's kind of funny when the Metro gets more than Idaho Springs.
And we do. All right, I'm going to give him like 1 or 2 more minutes. And because there's 3 of us, I'm going to go ahead and get going. Oh, I did this just in case. It took us a little bit of traffic as well. So, that's kind of- Do you like it? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I will call the meeting to order on January 17th for the HPRC at 6:04 p.m. Wonder if we could please have a roll call?
Right. Chair Lisa Manifold,
Here.
Rachel Terry, Patty Tyler, Michael Davenport,
Here,
Madison Wolf, Shannon Glazer.
Here.
Madison is just coming online, just so you know.
I'm here. Sorry I missed that.
No, no worries. We just got started, Madison. So if we could make a note that Madison joined at 6:04, just after roll call.
You got it.
Has everyone had a chance to look over the minutes for December 13th, 2022?
I just had one comment in the paragraph title discussion. There's the word chair by itself at the end of that paragraph.
I saw that too.
It's probably just a typo.
I was gonna say, was the chair
Okay.
doing something? I don't remember.
Just chair. I'll correct that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other corrections or modifications? I would be delighted to entertain an approval of the minutes, please.
I move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye and raise your right hand.
Aye.
I,
All opposed? Excellent, thank you. Okay, moving right along. Are there any conflicts of interest for the business that is on the agenda this evening? Okay, before we move further, I have a piece of old business, if I may. Jared, in the December 13th minutes, we talked about, we had not heard from History of Colorado regarding the changes that we approved for the library. Has staff heard back from them?
So we received this updated version here earlier this month and have shared it with History Colorado, but I have yet to receive comments back.
Okay.
So
Well,
History
just-
Colorado did provide about
I would like us to be able to
History
move
Colorado.
right away.
Okay, and if you do wish to make a recommendation on this, you can make it contingent upon History Colorado's review and approval.
If they did not approve, what would that do for our plans? Would that mean we'd have to go back and reevaluate?
Yeah, we would have to work with the consultant regarding whatever tweaks History Colorado had. They really had very, very minor comments the last time around. So I
Okay.
don't anticipate there being a lot of changes needed.
Okay, my feeling, and I would like to ask the rest of the commission, my feeling is to just let it lie unless we hear something from History Colorado that we have to change. Just continue forward. I just was looking for an update, that's all.
Absolutely.
Anyone else? Okay, then if there's nothing else with that, we're gonna move right along to new business. And Jared, if you'd like to get into the review and the recommendations of the historic survey.
Yeah, so before you this evening, we received comments from the October version of the historic survey plan. We did turn those comments around and forwarded them to the consultant. I put together a few and I did receive a few others from other commissioners. In reviewing the plans, most of them have been adopted. There's a couple that might have been tweaked a little differently than I would have liked, but in general, I do think it's a pretty solid, and I'm getting to kind of that real nitpicky mode. So at this point in time, though, because we are, the document is in a solid condition, we are kind of well past that timeline that we originally set out to be, mostly due to so many challenges with the pandemic and other things. Staff is recommending approval contingent, though I will note, I agree with you, Chair, contingent upon the state's review and recommended approval as well. Yes, please let me know if you have any questions.
Commissioners?
I don't have any new comments, and I think the 3 priorities that we discussed out of the group of 7 the three that we discussed at a previous meeting, I think still seem to make sense in terms of what to focus on, since there isn't going to be enough money to do everything all at one time.
And those are the first
And
three. correct,
I
Jared?
did place this in. I apologize, I don't have that note in front of me.
I think it was the first two, and then there was one item that the Historical Society was interested. I think Lisa had suggested that, and I thought that made a lot of sense to, you know, to maintain a good working relationship with Historical Society.
Yes.
And
Go ahead.
I did also, I kind of wanted to talk about this a little bit. After, you know, if the committee was looking for a recommendation, but we can dive into it now. That's not a problem. I did receive, just for your knowledge, one email with some proposed priorities, and I wasn't sure if we wanted to do that more independently or if we wanted to decide right now, which is perfectly fine. And we can go, we can move forward with that now. So I believe, let's see, we've got item 1, 2, and then I was trying to think where, I'm trying to pull that page up, but I think it might have been 5. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, 1 is the citywide intensive survey.
Yes.
2 is the city infrastructure to facilitate
Yes.
designation. And 5, you said the other one was?
I was trying to verify that. Let's see here. 5 is prepare historic context
Yeah.
to tell the story of tourism in Idaho Springs. Let's see, and then I don't think it's 3 or 4. 6 is prepare historic context to tell the story of ethnic communities and associated places in Idaho Springs. And then 7 is conduct additional survey and prepare nomination forms for the West Colorado Boulevard. So I think it was more along the lines of 5 or 6 that were probably the third priority there.
I actually thought I had notes on that, and then I couldn't find them, and I was looking. I agree definitely with 1 and 2, the citywide incentive survey, and then the city infrastructure. But I actually, in going through this, I think we ought to also, at the same time we're doing the city infrastructure setup, look at how we can promote tax opportunities, because that's going to be one way, I think, that we're going to get people not only interested in this because it's something that can benefit their house, but also it will give them the ability to have some more resources. Because as we all know, it's always expensive to keep your house going. And now everything is so, elevated in price. Like, I feel like that needs to be, if we could wrap that in with our infrastructure, I think that would be a smart move on our part. What do you all think?
Make people more receptive to being listed. If they
I
have
think
that.
so too.
I agree.
And so we could look at making the priorities 1, 2, and 4 with the knowledge that, the low hanging fruit of all of that could still be coordinating with the Historical Society.
Yes. I also had a note in here that since we wanted to work with the Historical Society, the Appendix A, which is the lists of everybody's house, I think if we release that to the public and work with the Historical Society and say, come and tell us your stories or give us your pictures or whatever, and then work with the Historical Society to verify that, just not just anecdotal knowledge, but what can we prove and verify? I think that's also a way to bring people into this. So Jared, would you consider that we ask the city to do 1, 2, and 4, like for 2023 or this year, and then do the other 4 in the following year? I don't want to wait too long on these, but I don't know what is realistic with the cost and the time frame.
Yeah, we might look at doing the early projects in 23 to 24 because of some budgeting items, just to make sure that we've got some funds. But some of them are not extremely expensive. So the intensive survey is the more expensive one, and we could start to seek grant opportunities for that over the next year. Let's see, the second one, there's not a lot of budgetary items associated. Or no, excuse me. Yeah, the second one's 4K to 7K. That's a little bit more in the lines of what, you know, a city budget could potentially cover, whether it be this year or in the future. The intensive survey is 45 to 65,000.
Yes.
And that's definitely something that we would seek the grant opportunity for.
My,
And number 4 is pretty small. Sorry.
no, go ahead.
Number 4 is more staff time than anything, working on tax credit opportunities, maybe seeking some guidance from History Colorado to set up a program or something of that nature.
Yes.
But it's not a lot of cost there.
So I have not been through this before, so maybe you can give us some guidance, or maybe some of the folks on the commission have been through this. When we talk about conducting an additional survey and prepare nomination forms for a West Colorado Boulevard Historic District, I think we might go a little further than the idea of West Colorado when I think about the homes and buildings, but also what kind of a timeline is that looking like to make a historic district? Like that to me feels like a multi-year project.
I would agree, and I think that's one of the reasons why the number 1 would be our first item, because if we do the intensive survey, that gives us a little better idea of what we can do in a even more specific survey in number 7. So we do kind of the intensive where you start to look at eligibility for each individual location. And then like a second tier to that would be someone who does the comprehensive or the really close in survey and figures out which ones we should recommend for either a district, which didn't sound like it was kind of practical because of the more sparsely laid out nature of the historic assets, but starting to designate certain ones, whether that be local or working through the state or federal process.
My concern with that too would be people will not want, like from what I hear, people don't necessarily want a lot more restrictions. So if we did something that was a local designation and still eligible to help them with tax credits, that would be my preference. I don't know if that's possible though. Like we may have to go with more restrictions if we want tax credits.
I understand. Yeah, you would definitely have to go through a process to be eligible at the end for the tax credits.
Okay. Commission thoughts? Are we good with that list of priorities?
I agree with those priorities.
Okay. So
Me too.
is that enough to give you direction to put together a resolution to take to the city council?
I would need, in regards to priorities, it absolutely is. In regards to a recommendation for the plan itself, I would ask for a formal motion and action on that.
Okay. So what other discussion do we have? What other concerns do we have, folks?
Looking at that one Appendix C, it's kind of interesting because things that are National Register, State Register listed are not locally listed. So I'm not sure if we covered this already. Is there a reason for that? Like, it's kind of an either or sort of thing. Like either it's locally listed or it's on national and state.
Oftentimes we have taken the perspective of not duplicating efforts because it is already protected through a national or a state registry, and everything that's nationally registered is automatically state registered. So you always see those
that makes
two.
sense.
But there is no protection under the National Register. The only protection is what is done at the local level. The the National Park Service in administering the program, they don't have a lot of the strongest thing they can do is delist something.
Hmm.
And they themselves have limited funding programs. So they always recommend that you do have the local designation because that's where you can protect properties.
Okay.
Okay, I apologize. That was an error. And that's something we can look into adding to the local.
I would like that because I have a nagging sense of unease that I'm seeing more folks who are coming in and wanting to do things that maybe don't fall in line with our historic district. And I really feel like we have to give the historic district as many protections and, you know, strengths as we can give it, if that makes sense.
It does. Yeah.
And I could be just being paranoid, which I freely admit, but I just feel like I'm seeing a lot of things that are coming through and I'm like, I really want to make sure that we give the city all the abilities that it can have to protect our historic district and any future historic districts. Anything else? So with our focus areas aside for recommendations coming later, I would entertain a motion to accept this survey and present it to City Council.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Can I second something? I'll second it for you.
You absolutely can.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor, please raise your right hand and say aye so that Wonder can see and hear you.
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? All right, so noted. So we're good on that. And then what is our process for moving forward with the recommendations from the survey?
Yeah, in regards, first of all, I'll cover this in two parts. First of all, this will go before City Council for adoption based on the recommendation from HPRC, just as a formal resolution. Of course, as I mentioned, though, pending History Colorado's review. So we will work on that to carry the plan forward and get it formally adopted. The second item is, it appears that number one, we would need to look for grant opportunities for the funding there. Number two, we can have some further discussions in regards to getting that up and running. I can speak with Administrator Marsh in regards to budgeting some of those funds, as it wasn't an extraordinary amount of money, and see if that won't fit into this year's budget.
Oh, fingers crossed.
And then, yeah, and then number four, the tax credits is more staff time than anything, and I think that that's something that staff can work on over the course of the next year, to have some, you know, either some form of documentation that would indicate how tax credits would be able to be gained through that process. And kind of on a separate but equal note, also looking at listing and potentially going through the motions of listing the locally designated items on the national or state or both.
Yes.
So I may, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I am being a little vague on this because I have some staff time. So I have taken a position at the city of Littleton. So I'll be moving down there here in a little while.
Oh,
But
no.
I do want to, yeah, I'm sorry about that. But I do want to be involved in historic preservation in the future for Idaho Springs, and you know I'm trying to help out staff in the interim as well until they do find a replacement.
Oh, well, I am so sorry to see you go, Jared.
Yeah. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you. But you'll see me around.
That's a good thing. And we would prefer to see you around. I would say with the promote tax credit opportunities, anything that we can do to put stuff online and streamline it because of staff time, I think would be great.
Yeah, and I know that the website has been a challenge, but I can speak with John in regards to getting those things on, because we do have some information about historic preservation on the website, so we could add that to it.
Perfect. Okay, and I forgot, I completely blew right by it. Wonder, were there any public comments either on this matter or on matters that were not involved in this?
Being we're remote, I'm not sure. I don't think anybody's at City Hall, but Jared, do you see anybody that has signed up online?
There are no attendees. No, there
My
are no other.
apologies. I have it sitting right here in front of me and I just breezed right on by it. So at least it's good that nobody's sitting and waiting, going, what the heck, Lisa? Okay, next item on the agenda is the Saving Places Conference. Did everyone
Yes,
get the
thank you
email
very
from
much.
Jared?
I just want to
No, go ahead.
precisely. I just wanted to make sure that people had been receiving emails. I have I signed everyone up, and you should have gotten an email from a third party. So if you did not get an email, I forget the person's name, but if you did not get an email from that person, let me know, because I've copied myself on all of those, and I'm happy
Okay.
to send it out. I know, oh, it's from Nicole Bopp is
Okay.
who your email should come from. And I know
Yeah,
that,
the email like basically was a registration, right?
yeah, it says registration confirmation in the subject line. It says registration confirmation / saving places 2023. At least that's how it came across for me. And I was the one registering people, so I'm hoping that they made it pretty clear to you. Like I said, if you do have issues, I can just send these out to, I know Commissioner Davenport had an issue. He did not receive it. It does get caught in a lot of spam filters. I will let you know that.
Mine was in my spam folder. I just found it, if that helps.
Yeah, same was true with Patty and John. So the city spam filter definitely kicked it out. And so that's why I have been bringing it up, like, hey, let me know if there's an issue. I unfortunately will not be attending, but I will send all of this information to John and Andy that do intend to attend, as well as Patty. So they'll have all this info in the hopes that once you get there and go to the registration table, that everything's good.
Okay. All
But
right,
that
then
is
if we can
February
get that, if
through
we
the
can
10th.
let John know, and let Jared know this week, that would be a good thing. Whether or not you have it or you still need it.
Got it.
Anything,
I have
well,
it.
there's also 3 of us who aren't here, so
It sounded like Madison found it.
yes, I have mine.
I know that Patty has it. I did get an email from Rachel saying that she was under the weather right before, a little bit before the meeting that I just saw, so I can double check with her. I think that's it for everybody.
Okay. Is there any other new business or any other business that we need to discuss this evening?
Did the extension of the length of the certificate finally get adopted
Hmm.
from 6 months to 12 months?
Yes, it did. Thank you. It did. That happened over the fall. That is correct. I'll have to check with Wonder. I know that we send kind of a batch of changes to Muni code at a time. I haven't looked into the code to make sure that it has truly been updated, but the ordinance did pass. Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah. I just sent a whole bunch, I think like 6 actually ordinances that changed the code here last week or some week, maybe this week, whenever I got back. I don't know how long I've been back, but so I don't know if they've been updated in the code, but they have been sent to be updated in the code. That was hard to spit out.
Have we heard back from Nick and or Carmen about how we're going to implement our fine structure? Because I know that was something that we talked about also that kind of got pushed into this year.
Yeah, Carmen and Nick did supply a memorandum at a previous meeting. And please correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I took away from that meeting that we did have some pretty good enforcement mechanisms that could be utilized. And that that was the way that the HPRC
that's
wanted
what
to
I
move
thought.
forward for now. Okay.
But
And
I
like I
lost,
said,
like,
correct me
2
if I'm
meetings
wrong,
in
and
May,
that we
so.
need to pick it up.
Okay. Anyone else? Anything else? All right, then I am going to adjourn the meeting tonight at 6:30 p.m. Thank you everyone for being here and making the effort to be online. I know tonight's a crazy night, and I will see you all hopefully next month at Saving Places.
Oh, is there a likely February meeting? Will there likely be a February meeting?
No, not at this time.
Okay.
I do not have any thing on the agenda. We have one item that's city related that's kind of lurking out there, but it's not exceedingly time sensitive. So it's just whenever we want to bring it back, and it doesn't sound like that will be February.
Okay.
Well,
All right, guys.
congratulations, Jared, on the new job, and we
Yes.
definitely will miss you.
We will.
Yes,
Thank
When are
you,
you
guys.
officially moving down there, Jared?
Well, sorry, what was that?
When are you officially, like, when is your start date down there?
Oh, it is the 30th.
Okay, that's soon. All right. All right,
Well,
guys.
thank you. I appreciate that. Sorry, Abby's being a little vocal. She wants
No
to join in the
worries.
conversation.
All right. Good night, guys.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye. Good night.
Thank you.